So you make a lot of decisions when it comes to planning your cruise vacation, and probably the most important decision you're going to make is which cruise cabin are you going to choose. It's not as simple as you think, and in today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show, I'm going to tell you about 10 cruise cabins you may want to avoid. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Tony with the Lido Loca Cruise Show, your guide into that cruise life today. If you enjoy cruising content, consider subscribing to the show with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of our episodes. Now they say that any day on a cruise is better than any day on land, any day at work. I don't disagree with that. But you do want to pick the best cruise cabin possible to minimize things that may annoy you. You may wonder what I'm talking about. I'm talking about noise mainly. This is going to be the main thing. Noise, your view, and possibly the motion of the ocean. Those are three things that can really turn your cruise sideways. If you can't get enough sleep, if you can't see the things that you want to see, and if you get seasick, that could turn you off. And having the right cruise cabin can minimize some of those risks. Let's talk about some things in the noise category. You may not want to choose a cabin that is near the elevator banks. Why? Because the elevator banks are connected to the stairwells, and the stairwells and the elevators are the primary ways that people move up and down the decks on a cruise ship. And look, nobody's looking to be quiet no matter what time of day it is. So if you've got a cruise cabin that's close to the elevator bank, maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning, you might hear the late night crowd coming back to their cabin right next to your doorway, reliving the fun that they had. Pretty loud. It can be loud. Even during the day, you can get a lot of traffic, people running around. It's a place where people congregate. If you have a cabin next to the elevator bank, it's going to be convenient, but it's also going to be noisy. Number 2 on the list, you don't want a cabin that is under the pool deck. The pool deck is a very active place on a cruise ship, and it's one of those places where the cruise line will often change the configuration of the pool deck throughout the day. So when the sun is out and people are looking to get their suntan on or they're relaxing by the pool, they'll make sure that loungers are set up. But in the evening, when people just want to walk around, they may put those loungers up. Well, if they want to have those loungers out for 6 or 7 for people to go and snag those chairs, they got to set them up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And if you are under the pool deck, you might hear the sound of pool loungers being moved around, and it's quite loud. Trust me, I ended up in a cabin under the pool deck, and you could hear it. So if you're looking for a good night's sleep, if you're looking to avoid the noise, maybe not a cabin under the pool deck. Number 3, another early morning activity that seems to happen on cruise ships is people like to get their workout in, and so you may not want a cruise cabin that is located under the spa or located under the gym. We cruised with some friends last year, and their cabin was under the spa, and apparently it was under where you could lift weights, because 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, they could hear weights being added onto machines or free weights, and they could hear those weights being lifted up and sat back down. The pitter-patter of people running around getting their workout on early in the morning can cause a lot of noise in the cabin. But you may be saying to yourself, hey, it's no big deal. I'm an early riser. If there's a little noise from the pool or the gym, I'm already up. I just like to go to bed early. I like to go to bed about 10 o'clock, get my sleep on. Well, you don't want a cruise cabin number 4 you want to avoid under the nightclub or around the nightclub. It's noisy. If you like to go and get your shut-eye on at 10 o'clock and you're under the nightclub or you're near the nightclub, you might hear the loud pulsating music that comes from dance clubs. Some cruise lines have cabins near entertainment venues, their main theater, their nightclubs. If you need quiet to sleep, this is not the cabin that you want to pick. Avoid being near the nightclub. The number 5 cabin I would tend to avoid would be cabins that are near the galley. Now, let me take a moment in this list and say that you can look at the deck plan of the cruise ship that you are going to cruise on, and many of these things will be highlighted. You can see where the nightclub is. You can see even where the galley is. And so the galley is where the food preparation goes on. and this is going to be a hotbed of activity for crew members on the cruise ship. You want to avoid any place that the crew members are going to have to go to a lot for at least the galley's sake, deliver food, pick up food. This is going to make a lot of noise. If your cabin is on top of the galley, again, food prep goes on almost 24 hours a day on a cruise ship, so you're likely to hear noise, and you're going to be in a spot where you might be sharing the hallway with a lot of crew trying to make their way to the galley. So let's transition a little bit to motion, and this one has a noise component too. Number 6 is you don't want to be in a cabin that is near the front of the ship or near the water line. This is a couple reasons. One of them is noise. On my very first cruise, we were almost completely at the front of the cruise ship, and we were as low as you could go, the lowest deck of cabins, and so we were right there at the water line. And being at the front of the ship, we were every wave that hit the ship, we could hear it. The ship was breaking through the waves with the front of the ship, and every time it crashed through a wave, it made an audible sound. And at the same time, there was a lot of motion that went along with that. Every wave, it was up, it was down, it was rocking side to side. There was a lot of motion in that cruise cabin. Fortunately, we don't get seasick, but if we were prone to motion sickness, not only would we had a loud sleeping experience, we would have had a sleeping experience and a staying experience that possibly could have made us seasick. So if you are sensitive to those things, I would avoid a cabin low and in the front of the cruise ship. Likewise, if you're not so much into noise and motion, you might want to avoid a cabin at the rear of the cruise ship. A lot of cruise lines sell aft balconies. I know they're popular with people. A lot of times you're sitting over the mechanical components of the engines, and so you will get a lot of vibrations. They tend to be cabins that have motions from mechanical vibrations. And again, if you're low on the cruise ship in the aft, you're going to get some motion. But even if you're higher up in the cruise ship, sitting right on top of the engines, you could get some vibration. Number 8, and we'll start to move a little bit into obstructed views and those kind of things. Number 8, be careful when the cruise line offers you an upgrade. Many times you get that tingly feeling when you get an email from the upgrade ferry saying we'd like to move you from an interior all the way up to a balcony for just a few dollars. And while that is great, what you are losing in the upgrade process is your choice on where you want your cabin to be. So you may have picked out your favorite interior cabin on a cruise ship, but now when you're getting that balcony upgrade, you're kind of left at the will of the cruise ship for them to put you wherever they want. One of the reasons that cruise lines do upgrades is, of course, to fill up the cruise ship, but it gives them the opportunity to take people that are in popular, well-regarded, good cabins on the cruise ship and move them to maybe a cabin that hasn't been picked yet, or a cabin that's less desirable, freeing up the more popular cabin so that someone else can book it. If you're going to take the upgrade, you are going to lose your choice of where your cruise cabin is going to be on the ship, and so that might give you a moment for a pause. Maybe the view that you had in that ocean view will not be as good at the upgrade. Closely related to that, number 9, be careful when booking guaranteed cabins. This may be something you want to avoid altogether. Whenever you see the word guaranteed when it comes to booking a cruise cabin, that means zero choice for you to pick your room. That is the thing to remember. If you want the cabin of your choice, if you want the stateroom of your choice, guaranteed's not going to get it for you. Most of the time, the cruise line is offering that guaranteed cabin at a cheaper rate, but what that does is it allows them to choose where to put you. So if you're someone that wants to make sure you know exactly where your cruise cabin is, if you want to make sure that that is your choice, avoid booking a guaranteed cabin. And the last one on the list is a little interesting. It's not about obstructed view. It's not about motion. Could be a little bit about noise, but this one is all about the smell. Be careful when you book a cabin near the casino. I hadn't really thought about this until our last cruise on the Carnival Sunrise, and we were one deck above the casino. And what was interesting is this casino had a smoking and non-smoking section, so the cruise line was doing what they could to regulate where the smoke was in the casino. Our cabin just happened to be near the stairwell, one deck up from the casino on the smoking side. I don't know what kind of hocus pocus they were using, but somehow they'd kept part of the casino smoke free And I believe the smoke that they were pumping out of the casino was pumped right into the stairwell and right down into the hallway of our cabin. Anytime we would leave our cabin, you could smell the smoke from the casino. You could hear the casino, not very much, but you could definitely smell the casino. So another cabin to avoid when booking your cruise is avoid the cabins near the casinos. Those are 10 cabins you want to avoid when booking your cruise. If you want to know how we book our cabin, we actually covered it on the Lido Loca podcast. I'll leave a link to the video version of that right there, or you can check it out wherever podcasts are found. Did you find the information helpful? Please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Tony with the Lido Loca Cruise Show, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.